Hi everybody, my name is Sierra. I am going to be starting these videos. I just kind of wanted to share life and share it in a different way that not everybody talks about. And one of the things about doing this was that I've always felt a pull towards vlogging and getting that experience out there and just getting comfortable with who I am. And I have always admired people that can get behind a camera and do their thing and not think twice about before they post it, or just having the confidence to do it. And I wanted to share my life, kind of. I'm 24 years old, and to some people, like, that can't be, like, I don't have anything much to share, but really I feel that the purpose of this page is to talk with others, encourage others, and just share my life with people so that mental illnesses can be something that's a comfortable topic, something that's not out there and everyone feels the need to hide because it's an invisible illness. And I'm kind of over that stigma, and I'm over having to lie to people like I'm sick, and they think, oh, like, I hope that you're not like coming down with the flu, feel better. And it's like, I would rather have the flu. I would rather be stuck in bed with that and then not be able to even say anything to somebody. But when I talk about things and I'm like, oh yeah, going through some health things right now, instantly it's like physical. It's what's wrong with you? How can we help? And it's not. It's something I'm going to be sick with for the rest of my life. And so the purpose of these videos are to reach out to other people, for other people to be comfortable with it and realize they're not on their own, and that this is something that can be talked about. And that's why I kind of want to do this. I've always loved vlogs. I watch them. I follow certain people. It's all over YouTube. I've tried blogs, and that's cool, but I feel like it's not like, no one can see me. No one can see that like I'm an actual person. You watch a movie, it's different than reading a book, although they're both beneficial, but this is just how I kind of want to do it. And throughout all of these, I talk about videos. I don't know how long they're going to be. I don't know what I'm really doing. I have kids. You can hear I'm keeping them distracted while I do this by TV, and no shame in that, really. But the purpose of these is just to share and get comfortable and realize that mental illness is a thing and it's totally okay. So my first video is going to be kind of just about my life, like what I've gone through. I'm 24 years old. Just what's shaped me the way I am now and how I live with that a little differently than a quote-unquote normal person lives. So I'm 24 years old. My parents were young when they had me. My dad joined the military. I was 9 months old. And from there on, I was a military child. Not everyone can relate. Some can. Some people say it doesn't affect them. Some people say it does. I definitely think it's affected me. But I think it's affected me more because of my diagnosis. Now, I was diagnosed when I was, I want to say 15, 14. I'm not sure. I didn't really care then because I was like, oh, yeah, well, who cares? I'm not really bipolar. There's no such thing, mental illnesses. Like, I'm just irritated at the world. My parents suck. All of that stuff, right? Okay, so diagnosed bipolar 2. It is different. Bipolar 1 is more rapid mood swings, more ups and downs really fast. Bipolar 2 is, I go about 2 weeks really depressed and 2 weeks really like high, like this is great, life is amazing. And then I crash, and I crash hard, and now I'm suicidal, and now I hate my body, and I hate, the stuff that I have to deal with. I have had my times where I can't get off the couch. I've had my times where it's a really internal feeling, and I can kind of ignore it, but it still affects me. I wish I could say that I get really depressed and I don't eat and all of that and I just don't do anything. Unfortunately, I eat everything when I'm really depressed. And so I have two different kinds of, like, quote-unquote personalities, but it's all the same. I can always think logically, but not, I can't bring it back down to reality. It's hard. And then the difference is diagnosed and then medicine, like medicated or not medicated. And I'm medicated, so I think that's why doing these videos I can kind of have a clear head when I do them and when I think, and that's why I want to share, because someone who may not be medicated may say, hey, like, I want to feel that way. So, again, back to my life. I was a military child, and my dad was deployed, I don't know, 9, 10 times, maybe less, maybe more, I don't know. My sisters are 6 and 7 years younger than me. They're like best friends. So that's always a little different. Yeah. And my parents. Seriously, everyone can say they have the best parents, and all parents are amazing, you know, but God, they have literally saved my life. They have pulled me out of horrible situations. They have been there for me in horrible situations. My parents are my rock, and you know, I'm married now, and my husband is amazing, but there's something about my mom and my dad, but my mom is that that pull on my heart, that she just knows me from inside out, and she's not given up on me. And I think my parents have had a tremendous impact on my life, and they've shaped who I am. And I grew up a Christian. My parents had their times where they didn't go to church, times where they did. My parents are currently active in church for the last, I don't know, 10 years, I would say, of my life. Maybe, no, a little bit more. 24 now. So yeah, definitely a little bit more. But man, I feel like I've had challenges being a military child, challenges of being a kid to younger parents. But if you look at my family, like, I got it good. And statistically speaking, my parents were younger and they're still together, and who knows what somebody else who may have a mental illness, their parents are separated. I can't relate to that, and that's like also something that is different, and I couldn't talk about in my videos with that aspect. But for me, having my parents together has pulled me out of some tough times. I'm now currently married. I have 4 amazing little boys. I don't know how I got stuck or blessed with 4 boys, but I did. Their ages are 8, 6, 4, and 1 years old. I was a teenage mom, and I would say that is definitely due to me. That is definitely due to me being diagnosed bipolar. That is just something, I can't say teenage mom, but you know, the whole, I don't know, I don't want to say this to make this not like appropriate for younger viewers. It was one of those things. I was a teenage mom. I had my first kid at 16 years old. My second kid, couple days shy of my 18th birthday. And then I met my husband, and he accepted me for who I am. I can, you know, everyone goes through those hard times. He was told, you know, by my dad, when my dad asked him for my hand in marriage, that, you know, Sierra's bipolar, and this is something that you're going to deal with for the rest of your guys' life together. And he said, okay. But I think recently he's actually said, like, okay, like, I know, like, I got this kind of thing. Yeah, I had my first son so young, and that's part of my diagnosis, that's part of my experience, that's what's made my illness harder, I've had to deal with more things that a normal 16-year-old bipolar 2 girl has not had to deal with. It's made it different than their situation. And then twice, because I couldn't think clearly. I was unmedicated. I was rebellious. I was angry. I was angry at the world. Like, why do people have to feel normal and I have to feel like this? Like, it was so hard to understand. It's still hard to understand. I'm a Christian and I believe in Jesus and God, and I believe in the relationship and the power and the love of it. And I sit here and I still am so confused. I'm so confused why I was born this way. I get it, it's a sinful world, but I was confused. I'm still confused. And that doesn't make my faith any less. It's one of those questions that when I get up to heaven, I'm going to say, hey, what's going on? Why did that happen? And that's just that. But back to topic of my life. I've been married now. I've had... My teenagehood kind of feels like a blur. It kind of feels like a movie, a reality movie that I've watched on TV now, because I can't quite remember everything that's happened. With bipolar, memory loss is a symptom. I feel like I get foggy brain sometimes because manic is what you're high. It's what makes you feel good. It makes you want to do everything. It gets you in trouble with money. It gets you in trouble with a lot of different things. And so I couldn't think clearly. It gets you in trouble with a lot of things. Depression, sucks, and it could be life-threatening. Manic, I could say it could be life-threatening. Some people do hard, crazy drugs, and not that there's an excuse, but it's just to each their own. And mine isn't that way. As a teenager, I drank. I tried it, but my anxiety freaked out. I don't like it. I had a hard time with smoking, and it kind of calmed my anxiety. At the time, I didn't realize that. I just kind of did it for that, and maybe that's what that subsided some of it. Now I don't do that, and I definitely am struggling with my anxiety lately. But with all of that being said, I can't quite remember everything about me being a teenager, and that's a hard thing. I know that it was all just ups and downs and just basically putting my parents through hell. I was angry at them, and why? I don't know. Like, maybe because I thought they were so awful for having these rules, or like, it's undescribable the way I felt towards my parents, yet my parents would leave for a day and I'm like, I need you. Where are you? I can't be home alone. It wasn't that I didn't want my parents or love my parents. It was that I was dealing with my own stuff, and they were my comfort zone. They were the ones I can go to and be angry at. And wait, what? You still love me? Like, you still want to sit here and give me the world? Like, I don't know. They're like I said, they are my rocks, and I don't know what I would do without them. So my life is a little different as far as what I was raised and brought up to. Now I suffer from anxiety way more than I did in high school. Although I had some, it's gotten physical. It's gotten to the point where sometimes I can't breathe. I have panic attacks. I'm shaking, like muscle spasms, like tremors. It's gotten bad, and I am now, as of probably a month now, on a different medicine than a different medicine. I've taken this one before. I got off of it because of weight gain, and I now am currently going to the gym-ish, Christmas, holidays, whatever. But we'll hope that that's a side effect. So that's another thing, like bipolar people, anybody who takes a mental illness, anyone who takes a medicine, anyone who takes one of those, there's side effects. And the weight gain for me was really hard because of depression, and I have a lot of like insecurities and body issues. Like, not gonna lie, I wish I didn't, but that's part of it. But the medicine aspect of that it helps. And I have finally, I think I will probably stay on this one. I'm at the lowest dose. can only move up, but I can finally think clearer. And not that I couldn't a month ago, because I totally could, but it was that I had so much more symptoms. I had the depression like hell. It sucked. Seriously, the worst probably I've had in a long time. I am now currently, my house is in pieces. We're moving back in with my parents. And that's something that I'm going to be getting questions about soon. And maybe you guys will watch this and not ask the questions, or I don't know how to react to it. But I'm a mom, a 24-year-old mother of 4 boys, 8 and under. And I have bipolar disorder and I have anxiety. And my husband works his butt off and he's gone. And you know, he has to do what he has to do, and I love him that he does that, but I need help, and I'm not ashamed to say that anymore. Maybe a week ago I was, because I was dealing with, like, what are people gonna think, but I don't think I can let my anxiety do that to me. So yeah, so people are going to ask questions maybe, or have their thoughts and opinions. You know, I'm moving back in with my parents. But if you compare somebody who is 24 years old with 4 kids, 8 and under, they're going to need help too. And here I am dealing with a very different and serious mental illness. And I equally deserve help, if not more. And I'm just going to say that. I'm not saying that we should get special treatment because we are born this way with this, you know, certain this chemical that's not there. But no, I deserve help, and I am so grateful for my parents to be able to do that, to be able to help us. It's not permanent, the situation, but it's taken a huge blow to my pride and to my husband's pride of, you know, we have a house that we thought and imagined we were going to be in for a really long time, and we got our lives together and it felt all great, and then, you know, my medicine wasn't benefiting me the way it should. Although it did help, it wasn't benefiting me, and the depression kind of got worse, and that's just a symptom. Each medicine has a different symptom. Some people don't suffer through those symptoms, or side effects, I should say. But it did. And so we went to tell our landlords, you know, we're going to have to cut out of the lease. And they, you know, they were really great about it. But at the same time, I felt like if I had went in there and said, you know, I had health problems, which is what I did, and they asked what, but if I would have said, you know, I have cancer and I got to move back in with my parents for the help with the kids and all of that, they probably would have been a little bit more compassionate. And I didn't get to say that. I got to say, you know, I'm dealing with some mental health issues. And it was like, okay, you know, whatever. They were great about it. At the same time, it also sucks. If I would have said I had cancer, and I know some people's cancer gets treated, and some people's their life is taken over by cancer. But if I would have said that, then maybe I would have gotten some like, oh no, you go do you take care of that family. But it was kind of like, well, you got to do what you got to do kind of thing. But yeah, so it's taken a huge blow to the pride for us to have to do this and accept it. And I want to get over that. And, you know, if you're suffering with mental illness, I feel like the reason I'm doing these videos is to encourage you guys to be open about it. That the stigma has to kind of be dropped, because we're getting to this new time, I guess, where things are okay. And some of that may be right, some of it may be wrong, but I think mental illness, that's something where we were born with. It's been scientifically proven there's a chemical that is not there. You know, I was taking lithium, and when I was on lithium, I had to get my blood taken every time I went up on a dose. Now, if every time I went up on a dose, and they had to take my blood level, and it showed that I had a certain amount of lithium in me, and I went to my doctor and I told her, you know, I still feel like it's a little bit, like I'm feeling better, but it's not all the way working. She was able to tell because of my lithium level. That's just science. Like, it's an actual illness. It's actually there. They can tell that, like, well, duh, I could tell you your medicine's not working because it's not the right dose that's in your body and you're feeling like this. Like, it's it's an actual thing. And I just want other people to not be embarrassed, not be ashamed. Like, you have kids. That's one of my things. You know, my mom was telling me, like, can you, maybe go by a different name when you post these on YouTube? And I said, at first I said, yeah, like, that's a good idea, because I have a custody sharing case with my oldest son's father. But I'm not doing my son any injustice. I'm not being a bad mom. I'm being a real mom. I'm being a real mom with a real problem. And if I had cancer, I wouldn't be, if it were to get brought up in court, it wouldn't be against me. It wouldn't be held against me. Well, this is a mental illness that it's physically taken over my body. And I'm living with it. And I have help. And I just feel, my mom wanted me to go buy something else. And I know she's going to watch this and be like, gosh, Sierra, why didn't you go buy something else? But no, I want to be real. I want this to be something that is actually taken seriously, and it's my life, like raw, not any filtered on it, because this is it. So to wrap up the whole video, this one was just about my life, like an intro. I just want it to be unfiltered, and maybe see if I can be taken seriously for something that isn't taken seriously. Also, people are just curious on bipolar disorder, and that's okay too. I think that knowledge makes more power, and if someone can, see how someone lives with it, then more power to them, and they can be more sensitive about it and understanding about it, and that's great in itself too. So, yeah, I think my next ones will just be more of certain topics, and maybe certain questions. If I get questions on this, I can answer some of those and just kind of go from there. So I guess just tune in, and we'll see how this goes, and kind of just see where life takes me, because I may have stuff to talk about now, but 3 weeks from now something else comes up, because life is never the same, especially when you live with illnesses like this. So thanks guys for watching. Hope this wasn't too weird or awkward. My anxiety definitely told me not to do this video, but I definitely feel like I need to fight. I have a right to fight for my life, and to fight for, what I want and what I feel I can do. So, yep. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye.